Hi all, it's Kylie from Kylie's Card Craft. Thanks for joining me again today. Another little quick project using my favourite of favourite things, book pages and envelopes. That's it. A little bit of decoration, but book pages and envelopes. What more could I want? So, here's my little pile of book pages, etc. This is what we're going to do. So I thought I'd show you first, and then you can see if you want to wander away or whether you want to hang around. So we got 2 envelopes and some book pages. Oh, I've also used a card just because it was the same colour as the envelopes and it was pre-folded and I was lazy. Got lots of little journaling space. We've got, hang on, let me grab some. These are not for this one, but they're for ones that I was working on the other day. So you've got pocket down here. You've got a little folded journaling space here. You've got little secret journaling spaces up here. These come out if you want. It is a pocket. It is also pocket. Now we'll put that one in there. Sit you over so it closes. You've got pockets. I don't think these ones are going to fit, but they're too small. Pockets in here. Pockets in here, of course, because we're using envelopes. This one's there, that one's there. You could decorate these up more. You know me, I just like my book pages. It folds here, it folds here. We've got it so that you can have it as a pull-out from your journal. It can go into a pocket. It could be attached to your journal onto a page so that you can just flick it both ways and still have it attached. Adhere it down like that, and then you've got a pocket at the back as well. They are so quick and easy to do. You know me, I like my quicks and easies. So I'll just take that out before I ruin that one. Right, so 2 envelopes. Now I came across a package of brown, dark brown envelopes and cards a year or so ago, and found them again when I was cleaning out my room and rearranging my room. So hence why we're doing this one. So 2 envelopes, they can be any colour. I've just used these to get rid of these brown envelopes. What we want to do is use your grid, set one envelope in place. Now, this envelope needs to, once it closes, because we're going to just attach these 2, once this one closes, it needs to be just a little bit away from there so that they're going to do that. So you can sit them, see what I mean? So you're sitting one envelope on top of the other envelope. Does that make sense? It is early in the morning here. I have only just woken up. There we go. Okay, so that's what you're going to do, but it's easier to sit that one just in here. Closing that one on it, give it a little bit of space. You don't want it too tight because remember, we want to shove things in this thing. So you want it away from that seam fold, just a little bit. Don't worry if you've got a little bit of a gap here. This is also why I've put the lace on the end of this. So if you look down here, you can see that this envelope actually sits further out than this one, and that's so that I've got room to fill it up without it getting too bound and too tight. I hope that's making sense. All right, so I'm going to sit that there like that, like that. We're going to turn this guy over, and what we're going to do is we're going to adhere this little bit. I know it's really hard in this brown, really hard in this brown. This was a good idea at the time. Let me grab a scrap piece of paper. Like that. If I sit, now tear that one down there like that so that it sits there without it fouling what we're going to do. There, now you can see it a little bit easier. We're going to glue this one, we're going to glue that one, we're going to glue them closed, okay? Now you can use any glue you like, you know, pick your poison. Pick your poison. I haven't been onto this since last night, so we'll just get that going. I hope you're all having a good day. we've got a public holiday here in Geelong, Victoria at the moment. It is one of those strange Victorian-only public holidays. All our states, of course, have their own public holidays. We have shared ones. But we have one for our football. And it is football. It's not soccer. It's Aussie rules football over here. And it's grand final day tomorrow. Aussie rules originally came... It was Victorian Football Club. It was Victorian Football League. So the VFL many, many moons ago. So now it's Australia-wide, which is nice. And I'm not from Victoria originally, but I bought up into this stuff. Right, so we've got those glued while I was rambling. So it's grand final day tomorrow. Long story short, it's grand final day tomorrow. So, but Victoria has a public holiday on the Friday, because tomorrow is Saturday, and it's actually called Day Before Grand Final Day Public Holiday. Truly, I kid you not, that's what it's called. It's because we have the Grand Final parade. So the teams that are in the Grand Final are in this parade, and people would take the day off work anyway to go up to Melbourne, which is our state's capital, to watch the parade. So they've decided to just do it as a public holiday. And this year, our team, I'm in Geelong, our team are in the grand final. So my town has gone mental, as it does. The team that I actually go for, we're not in it this year, so of course I'm going for Geelong, because you've got to remember, Geelong is my adopted city. So we've got them joined. Shut up for a moment, Kylie. Let's get on to this. What you want now is, it can be a piece of cardstock, it can be anything you like. I'm using my old book pages because that's what I do. That's what I love. I've got an old copy of Robinson Crusoe here, and I want Robinson Crusoe left there. So I'm going to trim this down so that I've actually got my Robinson Crusoe showing at the top. So I want my ruler, like so, and I'm going to trim it across. I'm actually just going to tear it. I'm going to tear it across there, so that it sits in here. I'm going to get my size round about. I can always trim more off my size later on, so what I'm just going to do is give myself a quick measurement, take it a little bit further down, and do exactly the same thing, and tear off my bottom length. Alright, like so. Now I want my sides. Now I'm going to get a little bit of plain either side of my writing, my font. So that's okay. That's not a problem. If I go back up here, what I'm looking at is to round about even it. Up here and about there. That's fine. And if I go there, I can see I'm going about there and about there. I think I'm crooked, but I really think I'm crooked actually there. Yeah, no. It's a figment of my imagination. You know how your eyes play tricks on you? Well, that's what mine have just... I actually want to tear that again, so I'm going to go that way so that all my tearing is in the same way. Anyway, so yes, so we've got a public holiday today. Not that it makes much difference to me these days because I work from home these days, so it's all the same. Since we sold the business, I am... That one's a bit crooked. I work from home. I'm either doing this or I'm doing eBay. So I just live in this room. But I've got to remember for everything else, for things like the post office is not open today. Right, so what I'm doing is I'm checking for binding. You know me, I always like to check before I stick something down. And yes, I can see that it's binding down that way. So I'm going to try and just trim a little bit more off that, like so. So yes, it was crooked, and I reckon I've put those envelopes on just a little bit crooked. This is the other reason why I like old book pages. They tear beautifully. They allow me to get just a little bit out of there because they're fragile anyway. Right, so if that's going to go in here, that's going to go down there, like so. Let's have a look now. Folding that in. Yep, folding that in. Beautiful, no binding. So before I put that in, I'm just going to clean up a little bit of mess there. And what I want to do is ink that fold, because these envelopes are so white on the inside. I will be covering, of course, with this book page, but if I leave a little bit of gap inadvertently, or because I'm lazy or whatever else, it will really show through. So I'm just getting rid of some of that white. I can go down a little bit. Might put a little bit more on that side actually. I'll just go down, just because. Let's have a look. All right. Again, if you are using vintage pages or old book pages, I don't know, that vintage term these days, do you realise that vintage term starts in 1990? And I'm sorry, that's, yeah, I can't do that. So old book pages, that one may be trimmed again. Just watch when you're inking them, that again, that they don't tear or crumble or anything else. If they do, that's fine, but you're going to need to mend them or put something else over them. Right, so all we're going to be gluing at this stage is this. So, and I'm going a little bit away from that, not right up to that edge. Well, trying not to. Following the rest of it round. Straight up. Down. And just give it a squiggle inside. Must get some more glue. Right. My hands don't work wonderfully well of a morning, and the squeezing of that glue is hurting. Right, so I want to go top to top. Lovely. Let's see how we're going. Beautiful. And yes, I do need to trim just a little bit off down the bottom. So give that a good push. Turn it over. Give it a push that way. Now, when I was doing and I've done it again anyway. So when I was doing this first one, I had an epiphany as I was doing it, and then I've been talking and I've just thought, if you use a thicker or a less vintage old book page for this, what you could do, let's just find a piece of scrap. Alright, let's just find a piece of scrap and I'll show you what I mean. So let's say that was your, what's the name? If you fold that at the bottom, we're just going to trim off some of that. Why have I now got no rulers? It's about that size, I'm thinking. Maybe, maybe not. And we're going to go down. Just a slight detour in proceedings here, okay? Because this was something I thought of after I'd glued it all together the other day, and after I've just glued it together just then. So let's say that was your piece of paper. This will all make sense in a moment. But you do need something a little bit thicker than like the vintage one that I've just used there. Okay, and something that's a bit better than a Tom Wolfe book. So you can see I folded that way, all right? If I had attached that onto there with these still, let's have a look. I've got more of them sitting there, right. Let's say this was there, that was there, right? That's where it's going to fit. Very quick, very, very quick detour. I'll show you what I mean, because I thought this was an awesome idea. So we're going to glue you, and I know this is just a wind back. I will finish this one off in a better one than Tom Wolfe, because I don't like books like that being seen. So, okay, there and there. All right, so I'm going to glue this just exactly like we've just done. Oh, straight over again, Kylie. Right, so gluing those down. So the rounded envelopes, the V'd envelopes, those sorts of things, of course your normal peel and seal ones are not going to work for this. All right, so there's that. That's what we just had, remember? If you do this sort of thing, we've folded this. I'm going to set this in here, like so. It needs to be the right size. If we then just glue down here and down here, I'm going to have to trim that back so that I can do this. Now, follow me. Stay with me, babe. There is a method to my madness, I promise. Right. I'm binding, and I need to do that so that I'm not binding. And it's that bottom section just down there. All right. Remember, my folded bit is towards these. That's not binding now. That's not binding. That's not binding. Right. So, if we just glue, and I'm just going to glue lightly because I will change this page out. Okay, down there, because I'll tear this page out and change it for a proper one. And down there, right, I'm going to trim off this top bit. Let's trim off this top bit. Turning that there, that there. Okay, so in our original one, I've just got another piece of paper at the back of that covering it all up, which is what I'm going to have to do to this one. But this one, because we've only attached it side and side, I now have, if I can find a piece of scrap, long piece of scrap. Here we go, long piece of scrap. I now have a pocket down there. Okay, so you've got that folded bit. Now you can attach that folded bit to those as well, and I would, I'm just not, because I want to pull it back out and put a proper piece of paper in there. So now I've got a pocket down there, and this can be decorated. If you're doing this as a pull-out one, you've now got a separate pocket down there. It's not going anywhere, so it's not quite a belly band. It's an actual pocket because this bit's been folded. So, food for thought. Okay, so if you're doing it that way, fold it up and just glue it down there and there and those bits. Right, as we were. Oh, I know. Oh, I don't know how you put up with me. I truly don't. Right. So, this bit, I'm just going to trim this bit off now so that it's nice and straight. Okay. So that bit's going there. Like so. I'll ink that bit again because we inked that for no reason at all. Are you back with me again? Now that we've had that little side jaunt. Sorry for that. Right. We want some stuff in there. You know me, I love these sorts of things as well. So I love putting these in here. Again, makes no difference which way I'm using. I love the colours of them. But I do want to bring that down so that I'm not getting so much of the plain paper at the top. And I'll start with my wording. Alright guys, what do I do with it? Here we go. Over here. So I'm just going to bring that along there so that it's nice and straight. Like so. Nice. Nice, nice. And I'm going to even it up round about because it's smaller on this page, this side anyway. And I only need it to go to about down there. I don't need to fill my entire envelope. So, it only needs to come to about there. This is an easy way of, I need a straight edge, that's all, of covering the inside of an envelope. Alright, this one I'm just going to I want to show you what I'm going to do first. Right. So this is just going to sit in here. It's going to come just past here. We all know how hard it is to tuck something in with glue on it in here. So if I do a pencil mark, you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to put that round about mid. So it's going to, you know, be cut off about here. If this section down the bottom you bring in so it's on an angle, it's going to go in easier. You're not going to see it anyway. So I'm going to finish it there. I'm going to finish it there. Can you now see, I don't know whether you can or not, that bit there has come into here. So what I'm doing, you can do that with scissors, you can do it with your trimmer, you can do it with whatever. But if you give that an angle, we're going that way, like so. But see, it's been cut on an angle. You'll find it's easier to slide in. You're only going to there. So even with glue. Now, when you glue this, all you really need is your glue across the top, because that's where the pressure's always going to be on it when things are sliding in and out. All right. Down the bottom, you really only need some dots to hold it there. You don't need to glue the entire piece. So then when you're sitting it in, lift this up. How easy is that? Before I'm sticking that on, I need to ink that, don't I? May need to pop a little bit more glue on there because I'm talking so much today. Alright, again, it's only the top bit. No, it's all still wet. Right, now, lifting up, going down, matching up one side, and then bringing it up. Now push it down. So easy. No glue on my fingers, no glue floating all around my envelope. Now I forgot these envelopes have this section. There it is. It's just finished, just there. It doesn't need to go all the way down, does it? You're not going to see it. There we go. Right, so do it again. Pick up another one of these. Different one. Makes no difference, 31, 32. But I'm actually going to take it to those. So, I'm going to take it below that black line, actually. Right. And what do we want it? We don't want it any longer than about there. Only needs to be that long. So we'll tear it off there. I'm just following one of the rows of numbers. Those two can just go straight back up there where they belong now. Look at me putting things away. I'm actually going to ink this bit to start with now, because then I don't forget. Right, and again, so let's do it with our scissors this time. So we're going to finish there, and we're going to take it in to about there. I'm going to finish about there, and we're going to take it in to about there. So if we get just a large pair of scissors, if you don't want to use your trimmer or knife or anything else. I'm not good with scissors. Right, so you can see we're on an angle. Doesn't have to be a perfect angle, but it's just enough to make it easier to slide in and out. So same thing, we're going to glue all the way across there. Like that. Turn it over, give it a push. How easy was that in filling the inside of your envelopes? How easy was that? Right, what I've then done, as I said before, apart from making a huge mess, we'll put those ones away. We'll put those ones away. I had, here we go. This thing came with set of cards that matched it. So just, you can use anything you like, a little bit of cardstock. I'd use something a little bit heavier, and all I did was trimmed off a section for the size of the pocket that I wanted down there. If I can find the real one, here we go. So for this, so I've done that at no real size, sorry peoples. That is not quite 1 3/4 inches. Okay, so I'm going to take it in just a little bit and I'm going to trim it about there. So same thing, trimming that there. And that's how, when I did that, I ended up with my bits to go in there. So here's this one, and I decided I wanted to round the edges. Right, so that's that. I'm just going to use my scraps, like these, to cover like that. So this one is going to be glued in down there as a pocket. Simple as that. So now I'm going to pop something on the front of that. It has all these graphs, grids, etc. That one might work. And this page is quite torn and ratty anyway. So, did I want the questions on that? If I go down there, I'm just going to take it there because this piece is torn. So I'm quite happy to re-glue that on. I don't mind that it's got a little tear in it. This is going to go here. I can hear people getting up in my house. It's our twins' birthday today. They are 23, so I thought I'd better get in and film this early before everybody starts getting up, because we all know how teenagers, early 20s, sleeping. Especially since it's a public holiday for them. Lovely, lovely. I like question in there, so we might keep that bit. So no measuring, sorry. And I'm just going to take that down there and we'll see how we go with that torn bit. Because I do need to round that edge. I'm just carefully going around that torn section because once I glue that down, it'll be fine. Yeah, very talkative today, sorry. I'll shut up. Right. Ugh. I put the glue there, not the book there. Alright, so you're all together. Now we're going to glue you on. So, just as a pocket, 2 sides and the bottom. Try and be straight. Do as I say, not as I do. Down towards the bottom, even it up. Right, so for our top pocket, we had these scraps left over. So I want round about the same size. It doesn't have to be exactly the same size. I just want my trimmer is what I'm looking for. So the other one was about 1 3/4, wasn't it? I might make this one a little bit smaller because I want my doovies. This is just over 1.5, I think, something like that. And we're going to go from here to there. We're going to make a mark just there. This is fairly thick, this card, so it doesn't tear beautifully. Alright, that one's just going like that. No round, no nothing else. I've only rounded that one so that people could see because I wasn't quite certain how much it would stay down. Once it's in a journal and it's getting pressed down, it may stay down. So I wanted it rounded so that you could see that it could actually lift up. This one now needs a, like so. Like that. Alright, inking around that. That one wasn't that hard, was it? No rounding, no anything else. We're just going to stick this on. This book has a little bit of foxing, which is your brown dots, but then I like that. Glue page. Gluing, yep. Okay. Right, that one can be just stuck straight on, going the right way up. Now you can decorate these any way you like. You don't have to use book pages. It's just this is a me tutorial using 2 of my favourite things to use. My 4 favourite things. My favourite things to use in everything is, I love envelopes. I'll go down a little bit actually. I love envelopes. I love book pages. I love lace. And of course, bringing up the rear but not necessarily the end, stamping. You will always find these things floating into whatever I do. Okay, that's our basics. These guys, you know, they're like that. That's all it is for these. I need to finish this up fairly quickly. I did one big one, one small one when I first started this, and then realised that I didn't like it, so I've trimmed them to the same size. Again, put my little bits for journaling and tucked them in, covered them with that. These ones, let's put something on these ones. Right, so, all right, and again, let's see a quick and easy way of showing you how to cover the outside. So we're getting it to that point to start with. We can trimming at the top. Now this is not an old page, it's a fairly new book because it's a Robert Ludlum book, and I've coffee dyed it. And that one's going back there, and I'm just going to sit that now so that I can get my border about right. Okay, sitting it on there. I'm going to turn it around that way because I'm a righty. Sitting it down, and because I want this torn, I'm just literally going to tear it in place. I can go back and touch up some areas later on, so all I'm doing is following around because I want this torn. If I wanted this nicely, evenly cut out, I would make a template, but because I just want this in that torn look, I'm just doing it this way. You've got to remember, none of this is stuck down yet. I like this old rustic look. It doesn't have to be even. Right. Just like that. And you would do this exactly the same to the other side. Can you see anything here? No. Right. Okay, so there's that side. You'll do exactly the same to the other side. If you're going to stamp on it, like I've done with these ones, I would stamp on your piece of paper or your book page or whatever it is you're using on that prior to putting it on that. Because once you've put it on your envelope, you've got sections here and here of your envelope that are going to sit up, and they're not going to give you a nice flat stamping area. So you're far better off to stamp on this. Once you've got this done to size like this, stamp on it, and then, okay, so let's say we want to stamp on that. Let's grab some, oh, I know what I want. I'm going to grab the Timmy flowers because I'm having a thing with those at the moment. Right. Let's have a look at that one. Okay, let's say something like that. So, we'll just use matte. So, stamping mat. I'm going to put that underneath it because I'm going to go off my paper edge. There I will need, I don't know whether I do need that size. No, I can get away with that size, can't I? Okay, so I need around about that size. Now, this is unnatural. Okay, so I'm going to turn it that way so that I can pick up my block, middle finger and thumb, My hands are resting on there and I can go down that way. It means it's so much easier to stamp with. I want a deep one. Let's use pine cone in my first fine clear, because I found that that matched this brown of the envelopes, etc. nicely. So I've taken my ink pad to my stamp and move that. Right, is that over you? Or are you over that? Right, my wrists are on the table. And I'm going down so it's nice and even. Leaving one hand on, of course. Going down. And up. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Now, if I'd done a stamping platform, because with this one it is that light section and it's solid. When it's solid and I'm using an acrylic block, you will get patches, okay? If you're using something like a stamping platform where you can guarantee that you're going to be able to re-stamp in exactly the same place, you can keep re-inking that and bringing it up until that is really dark and solid, because each time you put it down, the air bubbles will be in a slightly different spot. Does that make sense? I'm hoping that makes sense. All right, let's just find another bit over there. Okay, so that one can just stick down. We might just be lazy with this one at the moment and use glue stick, just so that we can get it down. Okay. Then I'll show you how I did the fronts. That one's this one. See how it curls. I've got time to move it with the glue stick. Making sure I'm nice and straight. I could technically go over further. There we go. Alright, and you will do exactly the same for that side. So, front. Book pages again. Well, definitely book pages. Now I have this. This is a yellow pages. It's a small one. I've got bigger ones and all the rest. But what I do, I'm going to move that. See these? See all these? See all these that we've just cut off just then? I sometimes am good and throw them away. I utilise them, but what I have, hang on. Oh, pull this sucker over. I have this. This is my basket for all my bits of my book pages, coffee dyed paper, all sorts of things. There's bits of packaging. It's all these strips. So what I do with my strips is that, I will get a page just when I'm bored or I've got too many or whatever else, and I will just stick them on a page. And then I'll get another bit, say that one, and stick that one down. All different colours, etc. Sometimes I go that way, sometimes I go that way. It clears off my desk and my little container there, and it gives me these pages. So sometimes I might just do, if I've got a lot of music page in there, I'll do that. These are just all sorts of ones. These ones are just all ones with fonts on them. And then I just tear out a page when I want it. That one's been a double-sided one so that I've got some for journaling cards as well. And I don't have to back them. So all sorts of... And I've got some that are in process. Some that I'll pull out, and then when I've pulled them out, I tend to just chuck them back in there because I know that that sort of thing is going to be in this book, and I might be just after a little piece to do a journaling card with that I can back, stamp something on, and I know it's going to be in this book, and this book just lives in one of the shelves in my desk. So that's what these are. So I've pulled out one from that, and I've done an up and down one from that. They are so easy to do. So this book's not got much in it, but let's find one I like. Oh, not that one, because I'm not wasting a double one. Thinking I like that one. No, I like that one, actually. No, that's that double one again. There we go. Right. So I'm going to go up and down. I haven't got any sideways ones. And I like this piece. I really like that piece in there. So I'm just going to tear across the top. Because again, I'm doing my tearing. They don't have to be torn. That's actually tissue paper, I'd say. I use everything, whatever's in that basket. It's my top section. My bottom section's going to be around about there. Sometimes you might find, because I just glue them down with a glue stick, sometimes you might find you'll have pieces in here that you may need to re-glue down. But not always. And I want that little section on the side. That one's very vintage book by the look of it, because it's crumpling as I'm going. So I've just got to be careful with that one. Make sure the whole thing's glued down, otherwise it'll crumble. Right. So that's that. And this one's going to be just there. I'm going that way. Depending on what the paper is, depends on how easy it is. Let's see. Liking that. Right. It's a good way of getting rid of my scraps. And it means that, because I keep them in that basket on my desk, that basket for years, it's always been there, and it means that I've got them for this when it starts getting too full, which is what it is at the moment. I need to sit down and do a couple of pages or more. I find that little size book works a treat. Now I use that because the phone books, the old phone books and stuff like that, are really thin pages, really thin, so they don't add any more bulk to all of this. So it works a treat for that. And I saw an Australian girl, Bonnie. Now I'm just trying to think what her channel is. I saw her do it about 3 or more years ago. And it was just such a brilliant idea. So Bonnie, it's not Bonnie and... It's not like the Criminals, it's a cat. So what were the... Bonnie and Clyde... So it's Bonnie and Clive, I think. Check that. She's an Australian girl, her YouTube channel, and I saw it on her channel one day, years ago, and I loved it. Look, and I'm going to be super lazy now, and we're going to go with a different adhesive. You can do anything you like, and I'm just going to set that on there, going across. I might put some, what's the name? Glue stick in the middle. What do you reckon? Just for quickness, because I have rambled on so much today. I am so sorry. Yeah, I've been rambling for an hour, so I'm going to have to cut some of this short. And we will edit heavily. We might have to. Wow, Kylie, what a ramble. Okay. And that'll go on there. But now you get the gist. That's going to go in there like that. How's that? Again. Ta-da! Like that. Isn't that how it's done? Find what you want. Decorate them as you want. If I go like that, you can see her. So she's just got some cheesecloth. Again, it's an old book. It's an old book. I love them. Stuff in. Just the same old book, actually. A little bit of broderie on glaze, and I've literally just put it there and there so that I didn't waste it all and put it all the way through. Because let's face it, I don't have enough lace. No. Ready to go in. The little flaps we've just done. These ones we've done. That one was just then covering the whole back piece, but I've shown you how to do it. Not on that one. On that one, shown you how to do it so that you can get that as a pocket as well. I think that's all I want to show you. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'll have a go at finishing some of the others off. I've got a busy day because, as I said, it's the kid's birthday. And I'm hoping to get this out later tonight. So, love you all. Have a great weekend. And talk soon. Bye.